George, race organiser of the Melbourne to Osaka. I'm Tom from Ronstan. George, can you tell us a little bit more about the history and the significance of the Melbourne to Osaka and what makes it unique compared to the other oceanic yacht races?
I sure can, Tom. Firstly, welcome to Sandringham Yacht Club, which has been involved in this race since 1987. So this is the ninth occasion when the race has really started here. All the boats have gathered here, and we have a big welcome for all the yachts. And thanks to Ronstan, too, who have supported us all over the years. We're very fortunate here at Sandringham because we have two of the Dillians of Ronstan, Alistair Murray and Peter Dowditch, who are members of the club. So we do have a little bit of support from Ronstan on the side.
Yes.
But the race started in 1987. And again, it was a connection with the late Lou Abrams, again, a patriarch of Sandringham Yacht Club and sailing and the sailing world. He was in Hawaii he was entered in a yacht race in Hawaii and heard about this race and volunteered Sandringham as the host club in Australia. So that's how it all began. It was a celebration of the 120th anniversary of the Port of Osaka and the Port of Melbourne. And of course, there's a sister city relationship between Melbourne City Council and Osaka City Council.
Yeah. Okay. There you go. All right. And then how did you personally get involved in organising this event? Seems like a big job.
I personally did the race in 2003, and this race is a life-changing event for those who do it. It's double-handed. It's the longest longitudinal race in the world.
Yeah.
It sails through the nation's waters of 7 countries, including those of the very poor Western Pacific nations. It goes through every climate condition you can imagine. We start off here, we go through Bass Strait with all the issues in Bass Strait. We go through the Coral Sea. We go through the doldrums in the Pacific. Then we enter into the trade winds before we get to Osaka. We have currents that you have never experienced in your life through the Solomon Sea, the Kuroshio current in Japan, and also the East Australian current close to home. But I said it is life-changing. In 2003, we had a super typhoon, which we had never experienced a cyclone to that effect in Australia. We had to take shelter for a couple of days in a tiny little atoll in the Federated States of Micronesia, an atoll called Onon. There we found that the school children didn't have any supplies, and we put a email to the race organisers. When we got to Japan, we found a school in Japan. The Namioki school had adopted this island and brought 1 ton of school supplies, which we had to redeliver to the island.
Oh,
so that's why this has become so special to me. And for every international race we have run from Melbourne, whether it has been to Vanuatu or to Japan, we all take a container to have supplies for the poor nations to deliver on our return journey.
Oh, there you go. Okay. So the basic rules of the event in terms of outside assistance, are you allowed to stop if you need to make repairs? And what sort of boat types are eligible? Is it just monohulls or a multi-hulls allowed? Or can you explain a little bit more about the technical rules and the boats that are allowed?
This race is for monohulls. It has a minimum length, and the smallest boat we have in the race is an S&S 34 called Curious Roo. The biggest boat we've got in the race is probably, arguably, I will say, Australia's most famous ocean racer called Alive, which comes from Tasmania. It has won Sydney Hobart twice. It has won races up and down the Australian coast and overseas. And Duncan Hine and Greg Myler will be on board. First time this race boat has been double-handed, and it will start 28 days behind Curious Roo. So it probably will do the race in 21 days.
Yeah.
Curie through maybe 40 days. All the boats in between are a mixed fleet from 30 to 50 footers.
Yeah.
Most boats will do the race in about 35 days.
Yeah.
It is non-stop, it is unassisted, and with 2 people on board.
Okay. Quite a simple,
Yes.
concept.
The other interesting thing is the race is really a Corinthian race where we don't have big donors, big budgets, although every boat says they've got a big budget. Some boats have, owners have sold cars. We had one case where they had sold their house so they could do the race. It is such a passion. We have a mixture of crews. We have father and daughter. We have 2 father and sons. And we've got a mother and daughter in this race. So it is interesting that we get filial relationships doing it, as well as those very experienced ones. Like John Sayer, this will be his 5th race. And the first time he has done the race on a boat he hasn't designed and built himself.
Yes.
This time he's going on one of the smaller boats, a J99, and it's a New Zealand entry.
Okay. So the minimum length is 30 foot, and that's driven mainly by it seems like it's the suppliers they need to take. Like yesterday, Peter was showing me how much water they've got to take just to meet the rules. And I don't know if you could put that much water in a smaller boat. Is that kind of the theory?
Exactly. There are water requirements to have on board. These days, boats have water makers, which makes it a little easier.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you've got to wait for the rain in the squalls. If you're having a shower outside, you've got the soap on and the rain stops. All these fun things that you get sailing double-handed and short of crew.
Yes. Okay. And then the winner, how is that decided? It sounds like it's a big stern chaser. Is it just the first to Osaka wins the race? That's as well.
The first race, the race from 1987 to 2007, they all started together.
Yeah.
And it took up to 6 to 8 weeks for the boats to arrive in Japan.
Yeah.
In 2013, I can say I changed the rules because I did. That was very tough on the Japanese, waiting on a finishing line for up to 6 weeks.
Yeah.
And it upset the presentations because the boats who finished early would have gone.
Yes.
So I said, let's change the rules. Let's have a staggered start here.
Yeah.
And then try to get all the boats in together at the finish.
Yeah.
In the last race, the 62-footer Chinese Whisper arrived in Osaka Bay the same day as the 34-footer.
Wow.
We did not know which boat was going to cross the finishing line first.
Yeah.
And it was just within hours. We had boats finish within 5 minutes of each other after 5,500 miles.
Wow. That's amazing. And then that's those times are then put through, is it IRC or?
We have 3 measurement systems. We have a performance management system, which the organisers, the on-water manager, the Ocean Racing Club of Victoria, decide a handicap based on what they think the boats should be able to do,
Yep.
double-handed. We then have the AMS, which is the Australian measurement system. They get allocated a handicap on that. And then we have the international OICI measurement. So that's a detailed measurement system, and the boats are measured and weighed to compete on that.
Yep.
So the overall winner is the one which does the best race and wins on one of the handicap systems, which has the most entries in.
Yes.
And that will either be on ORCI, on AMS. We're still waiting to find out which of the measurement systems has the most votes.
So then how has it evolved in terms of participation and international appeal over the years? Sort of how many entries have you had throughout the years, and how's that all trending? And
It is a very good question. It is a very good question, and sometimes it is hard to answer this. But we've got to reflect on the world in the 1980s.
Yeah.
Japan was a very the economics in Japan were very, very
It
good.
was amazing.
It was amazing. The Japanese corporates were really behind it, and many $million were spent on this race. There was finishing money,
Wow.
and
Doesn't happen very often.
but things have changed in the last nearly 40 years,
Yeah.
and the big sponsorships are no longer available.
Yep.
There's no finishing money, so the race, these in this economic environment, we run the race on the entry fees, which are modest. The entry fees are only $4,000. The only way we can run this race is by volunteers, and we have probably 100 volunteers who help out, all doing their little bit to make it a successful race.
Well, you can market it as it's the best value per mile in terms of entry fees.
By far, any race in the world, it would be cents per kilometre.
Exactly. Yes. So, what boats stand out to you as some of the most interesting in the history of the event? We've had some pretty specialized boats across the years from people like Greg Elliott that I've seen climb. What's your sort of personal memories of the most interesting ones?
That's again a very good question, because we regard every boat who gets to Osaka is a winner, and they are treated as a winner. But you've got to hand it to the SNSC 34s. Who would believe those boats would still be competing
Yes.
in 2025?
Yeah, they've got definitely a street record of going around the world successfully and stuff. Like you've had with John Sanders, David Dix, Jesse Martin, Jessica Watson, and now they're still racing competitively too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's unbelievable. And why I say the SNS 34s, when Rupert Henry was here on his 62-footer Chinese Whisper in the last race, we asked him the same question. He says, "Who would believe?" And Rupert's not short of a word. That's all he could come up. Who would believe?
Yes. Yeah, there's also, I don't think you can think of an example of a boat that small doing a race that big, can you, really? Besides that Globe 580 thing. But yeah.
And it's only because we have the staggered start, which gives them a chance. So, Curious Roo, 4 weeks before Alive.
Yes, but that does mean in the middle part of or they're towards the end, they're in the same weather. So you get rid of that thing that, say, would happen if a Sydney to Hobart or those other big races where the lead boats get one set of weather and then the freight lead boats have different weather. This way you get similar weather and it's fairer, I suppose.
Oh, look, this is the age of excuse when I've been promoting the staggered start is, but boats will be in different weather. If you've got boats 34 to 66 foot, by the time they get outside the heads, one boat will be in a different weather.
Yes.
But what you forget, ocean racing is a great leveler.
Yeah.
No matter how far you are behind in an ocean race, things can change.
Yes.
The weather changes, the tides. You never give up in an ocean race.
Yes.
It's not a bad bleed, but things change.
Yes. There's probably also a safety argument for the staggered start, because if you're in that patch of ocean between Japan and the Papua New Guinea type thing, that probably your best chance of rescue if something goes wrong could be another yacht going the same way. So that's probably another good argument for it.
That is a very important point, and it's something that we're very, very conscious of. We run training sessions teaching our entrants how to do repairs at sea on their boat, their rigging, their sails. Medical is also another issue, because when you look at this race, the Australian rescue services finish about 200 miles offshore. The helicopters can't go that far. From the Coral Sea to the Marianas, there are virtually no rescue services. You are really relying on your fellow competitors to come to your assistance.
Yes.
Yes.
It is. Pete got the charts yesterday for that general area of ocean, and we were looking at it, and it was amazing when you see the water depths. It's like you got the Mariana Trench, and it was 10,900 meters deep or something.
The deepest
Point of the ocean.
in the world.
Yes, that's amazing. And then I think I figured out you could stack sort of a normal racing yacht on top of itself about 500 times in that patch of water. Like it's just astonishing how deep it is, and then you see all the sea mountains on the charts. Like it's a big patch of water, but there's a lot going on.
I lost something. I lost something on the Mariana Trench. I was right up the top of the mast. I'd climbed up with Jumas in those days because my boat didn't have electric winches. Climbed up with Jumas. There was something wrong at the top of the mast. A Juma fell off. I heard one click as it hit the deck, and now it's at the bottom of the Mariana Trench.
I'm sure there'll be a submarine going through there one day, and they'll see it doing. And yeah. Okay. So, sort of, what's the response been from the sailors, both locally in Australia and internationally, regarding this year's event? Obviously, we've got the flags up, and everyone knows it's going on. It's pretty exciting. You must be getting some good feedback from people that are glad to see all the excitement.
It is exciting. We started promoting this after the last race in 2018, but a couple of world events actually affected us. Something called COVID.
Yes.
We are the other claim to fame in Melbourne. We are the COVID capital. We are the protest capital. We are everything capital here, and we had the longest COVID shutdown here. So we lost 2 years of that race. So normally this race is held every 4 to 5 years. It is 7 years since the last one because of COVID. And after COVID, we were approached by the Osaka City Council to see whether we would delay it till this year, 2025, to be the lead-up event to World Expo.
Ah, yeah, okay.
So we've had a temporary marina built at Yamishima Island in Japan, where the Expo will be, and the boats will be coming in as Expo starts.
Oh, wow. Oh, that'll be great to get more interest. So you must have plenty of stories to tell from your years as the race organizer. What do you feel are the highlights of the race over all the years? Like, there must be a few little stories that you sort of are able to wheel out and tell people. What are those stories when it comes to the Osaka race since 1987?
It's when we get to Osaka, we watch every boat that how it performs, not only as a racing yacht. We are looking for stories about the race, and the excuses people give for not participating in skins. We have like a prize, like a skull phone for them, so they can communicate better. It's all the excuses and highlights that happen during the voyage, and we get reports coming in every day. So irrespective of what the actual race is about, to me, the most interesting thing is the family relationships, what it happens to on the boats. We have a biggest loser competition.
Yes.
Because you consume your body during this race.
Oh, yeah.
There's only 2 people on board. Very rarely you get more than 2 hours sleep at any time.
Yeah.
So you start to consume your body.
Yeah.
So we weigh everyone at the start. We weigh everyone at the finish. And it's amazing the difference. The people who actually lose more weight, why is it so? Were they vegetarians? Did they have sugar? Were they smokers and tried to stop smoking during the race?
Yeah.
So to me, everyone's interested generally in the race results. But to me, it's the family issues, what the relationships with people on board. And we're very concerned because if you don't know the person well before the start, you know them well at the finish.
Yeah.
And in previous races, some crews have never spoken to each other since. Others, it is a lifelong friendship.
Oh, wow. And then if people want to follow the event as it goes along, where's the best place to sort of see these stories as it unfolds?
It is on the Melbourne to Osaka website,
yeah.
And there will be Facebook page stories every day. And most boats now will have Starlink, and we're hoping to download videos of the activities on board.
Yeah, it's just amazing what Starlink's done so quick to ocean racing. Like, even I saw footage the other day of Scarlet Runner over there going into Port Fairy off Cape Otway, and it was like 30 knots. And so sort of before sailing was this thing where you'd be lucky to get a helicopter shot and a book about it at the end. And now we get live updates just constantly. It's made it so much better for the sport.
Yes.
And then sort of, like you said, there's a container. Both boats will be taking a container of stuff for the school children to probably drop in on the way back. I assume all the boats are sailing back. No one's really, not the Japanese boats, but
No. All about, there's something different about every boat about their plans for the return journey. But most will Australian entries. We have 3 Japanese entries. We've got 1 New Zealand, and the rest are from various states of Australia who will be returning after the race. So we have a container which will arrive here on the 1st of March. All the boats who want to have cruising gear, gifts for the islands they visit on the way back, supplies, they all go in the container. It's unloaded in Japan. They pick it up, and then they're ready for their return journey.
Oh, it's a great idea. Yeah, they've got everything to give to the underprivileged islands, and they can put their cruising sails on, so they're not wearing out the gift on the way back. All right, well, that's pretty much everything I had, George. We're all looking forward to it at Ronstan because our Australasian sales manager's doing the race on Joker X2, so we can't wait to follow him each day and watch him. Hopefully get all the way to Japan. And thanks, George.
Okay, thanks, Tom. Fine, good.